What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello and welcome. I have got just about a full face of new makeup that I have been dying to play with. Some of it may be new to the market, some of it may be new to me, but either way, I thought it would be fun to just sit down and get ready together. I will have all these products linked and listed down below in the description box, so per usual, if you're ever curious about anything I use in any of my videos here on my channel, always check the description box. I squeeze as much information as I possibly can into that tiny little space. But without further ado, let's go ahead and zoom in and jump into it. All right, y'all, let's get this party started. So the only thing that I am wearing on my face right now is my skincare and my SPF. Other than that, I am completely bare-faced. But we're gonna go ahead and start with primer. So this one comes to us from Chantecaille. This is the Sheer Glow Rose Face Tint, and I actually picked this up back in December when they were doing a huge sale on their website. I think it was like 30% off. I have been wanting to try this for such a long time because I have heard so many people rave about this product from Chantecaille. It is basically a glowy moisturizer that you can wear under your foundation. You can wear on its own. It has peptides in it, all of the good things. And this says that it is a luminous gel cream that instantly blurs and perfects the complexion for a healthy looking glow. Boosted with powerful botanicals that visibly moisturize and smooth the skin for a radiant, fresh look. I absolutely love that. I love something that's going to hydrate, add a little bit of glow to my skin, and I like it when a skincare product kind of doubles as a makeup product as well. So we are going to try this out. I really enjoy Chantecaille. I have not tried a whole lot from the brand, but the things that I have tried, I do really enjoy. So this is what the product looks like right here. This does come in 3 shades. So there's a champagne-y one that is the newest one on the market, and they also have a bronzy one as well, and then this one is the rose gold one, and this is what it looks like. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dab a little bit of this on my face. It does feel nice and thin. It feels very cooling. It has almost like a gel-like texture to it, which I prefer. So let's go ahead and kind of massage this into the skin. Oh, that is leaving a really pretty glow to the skin. It doesn't feel sticky. It doesn't feel thick or oily or anything like that. Like I said, it feels like a very gel-like consistency, very cooling, very lightweight on the skin. And it doesn't feel sticky either. I just think it looks absolutely beautiful. All right, so this is what my skin is looking like with that product on, and I think it looks beautiful. It looks very natural. It doesn't look metallic or anything like that. Like I said, it doesn't feel sticky or heavy, very lightweight, very sheer, hydrating, and just a really nice healthy glow. This is one of those products I can really see myself wearing on its own as well as under makeup, just because it looks very natural and adds a little boost to the skin. But let's move on to foundation. So we're gonna go in with the Dior Forever Hydra Nude Foundation. This is newer to the market, but I have already tested this out quite a bit. I do have my full thoughts on this. I am going to share them with y'all, and I do have a foundation wear test on my channel with this one. I also have 2 other foundations in my collection that I picked up. I picked up the new one from ABH and the new one from Maybelline, but I want to do wear tests with these, so I didn't want to include them in this video as a first impression, and I plan on doing my foundation wear tests a little bit different moving forward. So the way that I normally do them is I just do an all-day wear test about 10 to 12 hours on bare skin. I don't do any primer, powder, or setting spray. I just like to test out the power of the foundation, and then from there I continue to test out the foundation and let you know what I think of it in like a speed reviews video, which can be several weeks to a month later depending on how much I'm testing out and when I can get around to it. So I have decided moving forward I want to do a 7-day wear test. So I want to wear that one foundation every day for 7 days straight on its own with different powders, primers, setting sprays, the whole shebang. That way I can really sit down and give y'all a thorough review, several wear tests with different primers, and let you know my full collected thoughts. That way you don't have to wait, you know, several weeks to a month. So that is kind of my plan with those 2 foundations. So that's why I'm not including them in there. But this foundation I love. I really love it, and the more I wear it, the more I love it. It is very lightweight and it has a soft glow to it. It doesn't have a whole lot of luminosity to it, but it just looks very natural on the skin. It looks very blurring. It's very lightweight, very soft. I do think that if you have really oily skin, this might be just a little too much. Of course, you can powder it. I've worn it that way as well, and it still looks beautiful on my skin, but I don't have oily skin. If you're new here, hello, I am 39 years old. I have normal dry leaning skin. I live in a very hot, humid climate, although it has been very like cold lately, still very wet and humid. I'm in Houston, Texas, and generally I prefer a light to medium coverage foundation, and I want something that's going to give a natural look to the skin, kind of a natural glow, not anything too matte or not anything too luminous. So that's kind of what I'm working with. But like I said, you can powder this down and kind of soften it a little bit, but if you have really oily skin, this might wear more luminous than what you had planned on the skin. But for me and my skin, especially with it being more dry right now, I have really been enjoying it. I have not noticed that it's clinging to any patches. It's not emphasizing texture. Of course, every foundation is going to look flawless with a freshly dermaplane skin or freshly exfoliated skin, but this doesn't cling to anything, especially like the little hairs like around my mouth and the little bit of texture I have around my mouth from old acne scars and things like that. I don't experience anything like that. It does sink into my lines on my forehead just a tiny bit, not enough that it makes me not love the foundation. I do have very deep lines on my forehead, so it's kind of inevitable. I don't have a lot of foundations that don't sink into it, but for the most part, I have been loving this foundation. This is actually a really good skin match for me, and you can see how just natural it looks on my skin. This is definitely more of a light medium coverage. You can see a little bit of my redness peeking through, some of my freckles, my little imperfections and things like that, but I like that from a foundation. I am not a huge fan of a full coverage. I will try it because you never know. I do have full coverage foundations. I have matte foundations in my collection that I love, so I'm not against trying anything, but my perfect foundation, this is what it's going to look like on my skin. Now, I will say, this is not quite as sheer coverage as the Chantecaille Future Skin, which is my holy grail. And the two of these have very similar properties to them, which is why I kind of compare it that way. They're both formulated with water and skincare. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there really quick, that if you use the Chantecaille and you absolutely love that, this one's going to be a little bit more coverage than that one and not quite as lightweight. All right, so moving on to concealer, I picked up this one from Chantecaille. This is the Le Camouflage Stylo Anti-Fatigue Corrector Pen. I also got this one during that sale, but this is supposed to be a skincare infused concealer that helps camouflage visible signs of fatigue and aging. I got mine in the shade, what are you, 1. I think it's the lightest one that they have. That's usually how I run with most brands, but I have heard a lot of good things about this one as well. It is one of those clicky style pens, and it has the little bristle brushes up here. So I am just going to click this up until it comes out. All right, there we go. It finally came out now that my thumb hurts, but let's just do a little swatch on the back of my hand. I probably over clicked it, but I think that's going to be a really good shade match for me. It definitely has that little bit of a pinky undertone to it. I do have very fair skin with a cool undertone, so we're gonna go ahead and apply this. Now, I am not the person who really cares about whether my makeup has skincare in it. I like to get my skincare from my skincare. It is an added bonus though. I feel like it, you know, I could really take it or leave it is what it comes down to. But like I said, I feel like it's a little bonus having some skincare in your makeup, and it just kind of adds to the experience. A lot of luxury products do have skincare in them, and I'm not against them, but I also don't go out of my way to purchase a product that has skincare properties in it. But we're just gonna go ahead and apply that little bit right there, and then I'm just gonna buff it out with a brush. So this is one from Smashbox. This is their blurring concealer brush. It's really nice. It's fluffy but still dense at the same time. Sometimes concealer brushes can be too fluffy or too dense for me, not too fluffy, but too dense for me. And this one is really nice. I also really enjoy the one from BK Beauty, the Angie Hot and Flashy. What is it? The A506 brush, but mine's dirty. It's got other concealer on it, so that's why I'm going in with this one. But That looks really nice under my eyes. It's very lightweight. It feels hydrating. It doesn't feel cakey. It's not sinking into any of my lines or my little creases under there. I do have very dry under eyes. My lids are really oily. The rest of me is pretty balanced, but under my eyes, I do get very dry and a little bit crepey. I don't have a whole lot of darkness going on under there, but that looks really, really pretty under the eyes. I'm really impressed with that so far. All right, so before we move on, I'm gonna go ahead and set my face real quick. I don't necessarily need to with this foundation, but since I am going to be using some powder products, I like to set my face. I am not the type of person who likes to go over an unset face with a powder product. It's a personal preference thing. I know some people do and it comes out beautiful, but for me, it comes out very patchy. So I'm just gonna set my under eyes with my Pat McGrath Blurring Under Eye Powder in the shade Baby Pink. This is an absolute holy grail for me, hands down, my number one under eye powder. This is really the only one that I use. I had done a Shop My Stash at the beginning of this month and I decided to not pull this powder because I use it all the time and I've missed it so much and haven't loved anything as much as this that I went ahead and pulled it back out, and it just looks beautiful under the eyes. It's very lightweight, very finely milled, very blurring. It has a very, very soft kind of pink tinge to it. It's not very pink at all. This does come in other shades, but this one works out perfect for me. Everything else that I try under my eyes, with the exception of the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish, is just too heavy under my eyes. It just makes them look very dry and very cakey, or it's too pigmented as far as a pink powder goes. So holy grail status right there. But then I'm gonna go ahead and set the rest of my face with my La Mer The Powder. I know this thing is ridiculously expensive, but it's a beautiful powder, I have to admit. It's very finely milled. This is not a new to me product. I'm actually trying to finish it because I don't have a whole lot left. I don't know if you can see how much I have left in here. It looks like there's a lot more than there is. Let's see if I kind of do it that way. There you go. You can see on the side, maybe. Anyways, there's not a whole lot left. I'm sitting here trying to show you and I don't want to spill this everywhere, but this is another beautiful powder, very finely milled, very lightweight. It's really good if you want to just set everything down, but you don't want to over mattify your face because like I said, I don't like a matte face, but I definitely want to set it down, especially being in a more humid climate. I have to set my makeup most days. Otherwise, it will just slip and slide everywhere and we'll have a big old mess at the end of the day. All right, y'all, let's add some color back to the skin. So I'm gonna go in with this palette from MAC. This is the Luxe Luck face palette that they came out with for Lunar New Year. It is the year of the snake, and this is such a good palette. I have used it several times at this point. I do have a short up using it, and I can use every single shade in this palette, even this deeper one right here. I like to mix these two shades together if I want just a quick kind of bronze tour moment, but I'm gonna go ahead and start with this one up here, this lighter cool tone contour shade. And I'm actually going to use that with my new Sonia G brush that I got in my Lucky bag. This is the classic base brush, and I like this for contour. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pick up a little bit and just swirl it right here under my cheekbones, giving a little bit of lift to my cheekbones. Not that I really need it, but I just like the way that this looks. It adds just a little bit of definition right there, a little bit of slimming. I'm not a huge fan of contour, and mostly the reason is because contour shades tend to look very muddy on my skin. And this one, surprisingly, I think looks very natural and flattering on my skin tone. I'm really impressed with the shade, the undertone, the formula in here. So I like to go just right there, and then I like to go right on the sides of my nose, do just a little quick contouring, nothing super precise. And then I'm gonna take a little bit and go right here along my jawline, just kind of blending and swirling. All right, so next I'm gonna go into this bronzer shade down here, this sort of mid-tone shade out of the three, and I'm just gonna bronze up the rest of my skin. So I just kind of go right around the perimeter, right on top of my cheekbones, anywhere that I would get just a little bit of color, just because I wanna bring that color back to my skin. So normally I do just a full-on bronze tour moment. I just kind of throw it on my face and go, but I've really been loving the results from this palette. I think it looks very natural, very beautiful. It does have a little bit of a warm tone to it, but it's not like a super orange, unnatural tone on my skin. Generally, I like something a little bit more on like that reddy undertone or like a pinky undertone, just because I do have a cool skin tone, but that looks really, really pretty. I'm just gonna keep buffing and blending it into my skin. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and skip the highlighter in this palette because I do have a new highlighter to play with, but I wanna show you just a quick swatch of what this looks like because it is a beautiful like champagne-y highlighter, and this does work for my skin tone. It looks like it's gonna be a little deep, but it just shears out really, really nicely. So for blush, I have one of the new ones from Natasha Denona. This is the High Blush Cloudy Cream Cheek Duo. I picked up mine in the shade Sweet Cheeks. I only picked up one shade, y'all. I resisted. I was so proud of myself. Blush is still having a moment going into 2025, but this is what the component looks like. Very sleek, very slim, nice and luxurious feeling. And this is what our product looks like. So you have a cream blush and then you have a cream highlighter or blush topper over here. And we're gonna try this out. I did also pick up the brush that she came out with. So while I only got one shade, I did order the brush as well. And this has two ends. So the first end is going to be a dense angled face brush. And then the other side is going to be a highlighting face brush. So a little bit more kind of fluffy. So we're gonna go in with this one and we're gonna pick up the blush. But let's swatch this out first. I haven't swatched this or touched it or anything. So Natasha Denona does have a really nice cream blush formula. I do have a couple of them from her. I don't know if this is going to be the same formula, but it does feel very creamy and very whipped like. So this is the blush and then this is the highlighter. The highlighter is a powder highlighter, but it's not the same one that she has in her Hygen formula, that really creamy one that she came out with in the compact last year. But that is what the blush looks like. And then that is what the highlighter looks like. So very, very pretty. I do have another highlighter sitting here, so maybe we can just put that one over top. I don't know how we're gonna do it all, but let's go ahead and apply the blush. So I'm just gonna pick up a little bit on this brush because this does seem like it's a fairly pigmented blush. So I'm just gonna make sure that I coat the blush fairly evenly. This is kind of hard to get in here. It's a little awkward, but I'm gonna kind of dab it on the back of my hand and then go right here on my cheek. Now my face is powdered, so we're gonna give this the full on test and see if this is going to lift and disturb the product underneath. That is really pretty, very soft, but I did go in with a very light hand. So let's build it up a little bit more and see what this is going to do. All right, so it's buildable, which I like. I like a blush that is buildable, but I can get a full impact. I like to be able to control how much blush I have on my cheeks. There's some days that I want a full-on blush moment and I want that to be the standout. And then there's other days where I want something a little soft. This is a beautiful color. I almost picked up the really deep berry shade, but I was afraid that it was going to be too deep, and they didn't get these in my Sephora. I did order this from Natasha Denona because I couldn't wait, but they don't have these in the Sephora by my house, so I might have to go to another one and see if I like that shade. Not that I need another blush, but I am a sucker for a berry. Sometimes they can be too dark, but that is really pretty. It went on really nicely. It didn't pick up any of the product underneath. It feels like it dried down to a powder, so it doesn't feel creamy or sticky on my face, and it has a really pretty glow to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and balance my other cheek, and then we're gonna test out this highlighter. All right, I think that looks really pretty on my cheeks. I don't know how I feel about this brush. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it because I really like the way that it applied the blush to my cheeks, but I don't know if I like how easy it is to pick up the brush. It has like this angle to it, which is fine, but it's kind of hard to get into the pan, so I'll have to keep testing it out. But let's go into the highlighter. So we're gonna use the highlighting side of the brush. All right. And we're just gonna sweep that right over top. Oh, that's pretty. I really like this as a highlighting brush. I like the fluffy side for sure. That looks really pretty on the cheeks. It's not sparkly, it's not chunky, it doesn't have any glitter in it. It's just a really smooth, like lit from within glow. But let's see if we can build it up just a little bit. and pick up a little bit more and go right over top. So yeah, you can definitely build that up on the cheeks. That's really pretty. And when I look straight ahead, you can't see it. So I love it. That's one thing that I look for on a highlighter. I don't want to have that stripe on my skin. I want it to just be like a turn of the cheek and bam, there's my highlight. And that's what this is giving me. All right, so I do have another highlighter to try. It's this one from RMS Beauty. This is in the shade Prosecco Fizz, and I picked this up because Angelica Nyqvist raves about this highlighter, how beautiful it is, and we're gonna put a little bit of this on over top. It's not really gonna go, but I'm so curious about it. I have to try out this highlighter, so let's do a little swatch right here. I do have blushes and the bronzer from RMS, and they are both absolutely beautiful. So that is what it looks like with a little swatch. A little bit more on the subtle side compared to the one from MAC, but let's build that up just a little bit more so maybe you can see it better. There you go. Now you can see it a little bit better. But like I said, I really do enjoy the formula. I think it looks beautiful on the skin. So let's go ahead and try this one out. Put a little bit on over top. So I'm just gonna pick it up with like a fluffy highlighter brush. And we're gonna go right over top over here. Ooh, wow. Look at that. That really amped things up a little bit. We are gonna be extra glowy today, but I'm not mad about that. I still love to beam and glow. I know highlighters are not quite as popular as they used to be, but I've always loved a highlighter. I love adding that little bit of sparkle and glow back to the skin. All right, so before we move on to eyes and lips, let's go ahead and set the face. So I picked up the newest one from Tarte. This is the LifeLock Hydrating Setting Spray, and that is the main reason that I picked it up, because it's a hydrating setting spray. I don't need any more setting sprays. I said I wasn't gonna pick any more up, but I also didn't plan on Tarte coming out with a new one. I did also pick up the newest one from ABH as well, but I did get minis in both of them, but we'll test out the one from ABH when we test out the foundation. So let's go ahead and give this a good shake and then prime the pump. Oh, that's a nice, really fine mist. I don't smell anything, so that's good, but that feels very nice, very cooling. It just has like a very fresh smell, so it doesn't have a fragrance to it or anything like that, but it feels very good on the skin. So let me just grab my little puff so I can kind of press everything into my skin. Oh, this looks really, really pretty. Now, as far as longevity goes, I will have to keep y'all posted. But first impression, that looks really nice. It kind of meshed all my makeup together. So if it does that and locks everything in place, I'm going to be happy. Because usually I go in with my MAC Fix Plus to kind of mesh everything in and then go in with a setting spray over top to lock everything in place. Just because I haven't found that perfect one that does both. But if this extends the longevity and holds up in this hot, humid weather, this could be a really nice one. But I do like how natural it looks on the skin. I didn't get any of those little droplets. It doesn't feel sticky or anything like that. My face doesn't feel powdery like it did before, but it also doesn't feel unset and sticky, if you know what I mean. But let's move on. So let's do brows really quick. So the only affordable product in this little haul right here, I picked this one up from Maybelline. This is the Super Fluff Brow Mousse. So basically it's a tinted brow mousse. I do have my brows microbladed on just because I have very little brow hair. I've had them for about a little over 3 years at this point, but I still like to go in with like a tinted brow gel over top to bring a little bit of color and life back to them. But I like that I don't have to go in and draw on my brows anymore. But I picked this one up whenever I picked up the Maybelline foundation because I needed just a little bit more to get free shipping. So we're gonna test this out. This is in the shade 257 medium brown, and let's see if it says anything about this on here. So it says it's supposed to give you softly volumized brows up to 24-hour wear, stiff resistant and flake resistant. I love it. Say less. Let me grab my little mirror. So let's open her up and see what the wand looks like. I do like the packaging. So this is what the wand looks like. It's a very small kind of like mascara looking wand and very nice. So let's do this. Let's see what this is gonna do. I know this is not the most fun thing in the world to watch, but there are people out there like me that are always looking for the perfect brow product. That is really, really nice. It didn't pick up too much product, so I don't feel like I'm getting an uneven disbursement of the color. That looks really pretty, and it's a perfect shade match for me. I've really been loving the one from ABH, the new volumizing tinted brow gel. That has been a favorite of mine. I like the one from Urban Decay and the one from Milk as well, but I find that the one from Milk, the wand picks up too much product, so it can really get away from you. It does beautiful though, and the same thing with the Urban Decay. This one, okay, Maybelline, I see you. That looks beautiful. Now I don't have squirrely brows because I don't have a lot, so I don't really worry about hold too much. Obviously, I don't want them to just go everywhere, but hold is not a big factor for me, but that looks beautiful on the brows. I'm really impressed with this. All right, so makeup is locked in place, brows are on. Let's throw on a lip before we jump into the eyes. So I picked up the newest one from Valentino. This is not a new formula. It is not a new to me product. I do have one other of these in my collection and I love it. I think it's a beautiful, very soft, comfortable matte lipstick, but this one is in the shade Lilac Rain. So this is the Spike Valentino Extra Purple Contour in a Lipstick Purple Lip Shimmer. That's a mouthful, I know, but look at how beautiful this package is. It has the same packaging as the other one, but it's a purple shade, and look at this color, y'all. Oh my gosh, is that not a beautiful cool tone purple shade? I hope this doesn't wash me out and make me look sickly. We're gonna find out. I was so intrigued. So let's do a little swatch right here on the back of my hand. That's really, really pretty. It does have a soft kind of sparkle to it. Something else that I'm not a huge fan of, but if it's done right, it can be really pretty. So what do I want to line my lips with? Let's line them with nothing. Let's just see what this looks like on its own. So let's go ahead and apply it. Ooh, that is fun. It does have sparkles in it, but I can't feel them. They're not gritty, which I appreciate. All right, so that's what it looks like. It is really pretty, and I think paired with the right lip liner, this would be absolutely beautiful. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find a lip liner in my collection that would go really pretty with this, and then we'll throw that on and see what this looks like. All right, y'all, so this is the final lip combo. I just went in with an unearthly liner in the shade Carnage, and I feel like it goes really well with this lipstick. This is a very wearable purple, and I absolutely love it, but let me know what y'all think down below. This is very comfortable. Like I said, you can't feel the glitters in it or anything like that. It's lightweight, it's hydrating. It almost has like a velvety slip to it. It's not gonna dry down 100%, so it's not going to be transfer proof, but if the formula is the same as the one in the other lipstick that I have from the brand, it lasts a really long time on the lips and it wears off beautifully. It doesn't wear off uneven or funky or anything like that. But let's go ahead and move on to eyes. So I picked up 2 eyeshadow palettes from Esom during their Black Friday sale. I picked up a little set that came with a brush and a liner as well. So we're gonna test all of this out. So let me go ahead and prime my eyes really quick and get these out of the boxes so I can show y'all swatches and all of the fun things. So the first of the 2 palettes that I picked up is going to be the Artistry eyeshadow palette in the shade number 1 Balance. And this is going to be an all matte neutral leaning palette. I think it has a beautiful balance of cool tones and warm tones in here. Something that I personally don't find a whole lot in all matte palettes. They usually either lean very warm or very cool or very neutral. So I like the combination of both. And to me, this is a utilitarian palette. This is something that you just kind of have sitting at your desk that will go with everything. Pair it with shimmer and things like that in your collection. There is another all matte palette that the brand has. That one is called Harmony, and that one is very colorful. So it's got more of like your oranges, your greens, your pinks, your purples, your rose tones and things like that in it. But I opted for this version and I think this one is absolutely beautiful. But the other one that I picked up is going to be the Artistry eyeshadow palette in number 2 Intensity. And this is going to be an all shimmer palette. And I thought that this one would just pair beautifully with the Balance palette. Again, there is another one that is all shimmer and that one is going to be more colorful. It's gonna go very well with the other all matte palette that the brand has to offer. Now this one is a little bit more pricey. I did get it on sale, but again, I am really curious about the formula in here. So we are going to create a look combining these 2 palettes together. Now Esom is a brand that I have never tried before, so I'm really excited about this. It's been on my wish list for a very long time. I have heard such good things about this formula. It is geared towards the makeup artist, which is why the little lids come off, but we're gonna test it out anyway. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do something kind of purple mauve leaning, since I do have this lip going on. Now I did already prime my eyes with my MAC paint pot in the shade Painterly per usual. I'm sure y'all already knew it if you're not new here, but we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get started with, I'm kind of thinking maybe this shade up here, which is called, I'd have to pop it out to read it, and I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to start with this shade up here, and I'm going to go ahead and pick that up with a BK Beauty 212 brush, and I am just going to start by fluffing this into my crease, building up a little bit of depth and definition. So I'm curious to see how pigmented these are going to be, what the lasting power is, how they're going to blend out, if they're going to give me a lot of impact, because like I said, this is supposed to be for like the makeup artists, but I have seen people who love all kinds of formulas love this one. So it really piqued my interest. That is going on really, really nicely. It is very close to my skin tone, which I kind of figured, but I'm not getting any fallout. I am getting a little bit of kick up in the pan, and I can kind of see it fluff when I apply it on my lid, but it's not going everywhere. It's not patching, it's not skipping, it's building up on itself really nicely, and I'm not having a hard time blending it out. So next we're going to go in with this shade right here. I'm just going to follow this gradient on the end over here, and we're going to start to build up my outer corner. So I'm going to pick that shade up with a Singe Beauty EO6 brush, and I'm just going to start to pack it right here in my very outer corner. It might be nice if I actually picked up some product. There we go. So I'm just going to kind of pack it right out here. Now these are definitely more buildable in pigmentation is what I am finding, so you can really do something nice and soft, or I'm hoping you can really kind of build this up. So let's see what kind of pigmentation we can get out of this. This is going to be more of a mid-tone shade, so I don't expect it to go too dark, but that is really, really pretty. Again, I'm not having any issues blending this out, no patching, no skipping. I'm still not getting any fallout. I'm getting a little bit of kick up in the pan, so let me show you what I'm talking about. Not a whole lot. These are definitely kind of fluffy and powdery, but the formula I'm not having an issue with at all. I am going to bring this down to the outer portion of my lower lash line as well. So just lining it up once again with what I did up on my lid. This is how I normally do my eye look. So I'm just doing a standard Sarah look, have you? All right, let's go in and build up a little bit more depth in my outer quarter. So I'm gonna go in with this deeper purple shade over here, and I'm gonna pick this up with a BK Beauty 211 brush, and I am just going to pack it right here in the very outer corner of my look. So just right out here, building up a little bit of depth. I don't want this to get away from me and really smoke out this look, but I like having that little bit of depth out there. So yeah, that is definitely building up on top of the other shade really, really nicely. Again, buildable in pigmentation. So these aren't the kind of shades that are gonna get away from you, and they're also ones that you can kind of smoke out. You can do a softer look, you can really deepen it up and do something smoky and dramatic. So these are definitely artistry palettes. All right, so before we pop back into the shimmers, I'm just gonna go back in with that first shade that I used in my crease and just fluff it along the rest of my lower lash line, just kind of blending everything out and giving me a nice cohesive look. And then I'm gonna prime my eyes with my NYX glitter primer, and we're gonna put some of these shimmers on the lid. So jumping into the Intensity palette, I think we're just gonna stick with these three shimmers over here. So I'm actually gonna start with this center one, which is more of like a berry shade, and we're gonna put that one all over the lid. So I'm gonna pick that up with my BK Beauty 203 brush. I did prime my lid with my NYX glitter primer. I know I already said that, but just kind of reiterating it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick that up on my brush. I'm gonna spray it with my MAC Fix Plus, and I am going to press this all over my lid, and let's see what kind of impact we can get from this. That is really, really pretty. It has like a really pretty, I don't want to say it's like a satin, but it's not quite as impactful as what you're gonna get from indie brands or even Danessa Myricks, things like that. It just has a really flattering sheen to it. Very beautiful on the eye, but there are several different formulas in this palette, so you know, this is just one of them, but that's very pretty, very smoothing. I did not get any fallout. It's not emphasizing texture on my lid. It didn't feel gritty or heavy or flaky or anything like that. Okay, so I think what I want to do next is maybe take a little bit of this shade right here and kind of tap it on the center, and then I want to use this one up here for my inner corner. So I'm going to pick up that first shade, the very bottom with my finger, and I'm just gonna tap it right here in the very center, giving me like a little spotlight moment. Ooh, look at that. That gave a beautiful impact to the eye. I really love the way that looks. So with my Singe Beauty EO1 brush, I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this lighter pinky shade up here. I am going to spray it once again with my MAC Fix Plus, and I'm going to pop this right here in my inner corner, and I'm going to bring it up onto my lid just a little bit and kind of fluff it down onto my lower lash line as well, just so we don't have like this glob of shimmer right in the inner corner. That is really, really pretty. It does have a little bit of a base to it, so it's not going to be like a topper shade or anything like that. Of course, I could have gone in with one of these lighter shades up here as well, but I just decided to stick to the one row. So this is what the eyes are looking like so far. I think it looks really pretty. I really like the performance of the mattes. I think the shimmers look beautiful as well. They have this really pretty wet effect when I build up those other two shades on top, but we still need to do liner and mascara. So I did get a dual-ended liner and a brush as well whenever I picked up these palettes. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the liner pencil. This one is in the shade Brown and Citrine. So what I thought we could do is this lighter citrine shade sort of on my lower waterline, and then for my lid we can go in with the brown shade up here, very creamy, very pigmented, and maybe kind of wing it out a little bit and clean it up with this brush. I am by no means the queen of a wing, but we're just gonna do it anyway. It's fun, it's makeup, it washes off. So I'm gonna start with my lower waterline, and I'm just gonna pop this in here, giving me a little bit of brightness down here. Normally I would probably go in with like a purple liner, but I really wanted to try out this liner. These are fairly affordable. These are like, I think $22 or something like that. It'll pop up on the screen as to how much they are, but for two liners, that is an affordable price point. All right, so let's go in to my lid. So I'm gonna start by just kind of tight lining my lid really quick. Just bringing it all the way across. I don't know if I can talk doing this, so I think I'm just gonna speed it up for y'all. All right, y'all, so liner and mascara are on, and this is going to be our completed eye look, which I think turned out absolutely beautiful. I am really impressed with the eyeshadows from Asom. I found them to be very easy to work with. They were more buildable in pigmentation, but I didn't have any issues building them up or blending them out. I didn't get any patching, skipping, or fallout, and I thought the shimmers were beautiful on the lid as well. That first deeper one that I used was definitely more on that metallic-y side, but very smooth, very flattering on my lids, and the other two over top just gave it this really pretty wet effect, but still very flattering on my lids. As far as the liner goes, I like it, but it's not a favorite. And the reason being is I did get a little bit of pulling and tugging, like right here on the inner portion of my lid where my skin's a little bit more loose and I've got some wrinkles and crinkles going on. But as far as winging this out in my lower lash line, I did not have any issues. I thought this was creamy, very easy to manipulate, but it wasn't so creamy that it moved around on me. I didn't get a lot of transfer or anything like that, and it was really pigmented. So I don't think this is going to be the best liner for more mature lids. Obviously, I will have to keep testing it out just to make sure it wasn't like an eyeshadow issue or anything like that, because sometimes liners can perform differently over different shadows depending on the formula. So I'll keep y'all posted, but first impression, not an absolute favorite. If you plan on putting this all over the lid and you have more mature lids, but it did work really great in my lower waterline. But overall, I'm really impressed with all the products that I tried out today. I don't think there's a dud in the bunch. I really enjoyed playing with them. I love the way that my makeup turned out. I'm loving this smoky purple eye with the purple lip. Very complimentary, very me, and I feel very beautiful in my makeup today, and that is the whole point. But let me know all of your thoughts down below. Let me know if you picked up any of these products, if you tried them out, what your thoughts are, what your experience was of them, what you thought of the look. I want to know it all. Let's have that conversation. Light up that comment section, and as always, I want to thank you all so much for watching my video and spending your time with me. It truly does mean so much to me. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my future posts here on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every single week, and I wouldn't want you to miss one. But until my next video, have a good one.